Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? It's Wednesday and time for that Lo-Fi global news, fresh off that press. Coming at us from the world of Reuters. Within hours, Indian farm protest turned from carnival to violent clashes. This is an update to our continuing coverage of Indian farmers protesting new laws by the government that they claim would hurt them. And recently, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the farmers and ordered the government and the farmers to go to work on changing these laws together. A major win. So what happened here? Well, really, we don't know. The police reported that about 394 officers were injured, but no protesters or police officers were killed. And leaders of the farmers insist that this was a very small group of militants within the farmers' group that hijacked a peaceful protest and demonstration and turned it violent. The violence reportedly only lasted about 30 minutes, but still, in 30 minutes, almost 400 officers were injured. We'll keep you updated as we find out more about how this happened and why this peaceful demonstration went sideways after the farmers already just gained a major win. Next up, Source, Africa Live section of the BBC. Tunisian protesters marching to parliament blocked. Another update to protest around the world, but this time in Tunisia. Protests have been happening in the country due to frustration with the government's lack of the ability to pull the people out of a dire economic recession. Over 1,000 protesters have been arrested since last week, and today's protests were aimed at the parliament building and were in part to protest for the release of those 1,000 people. And as we've been saying, Lo-Fi Nation, keep your eye on Tunisia, as it's the 10th anniversary of the Arab Spring protest, which overthrew the Tunisian government. Now, moving forward, because we never move on from anything, Source, AP News International. EU wants full recognition for UK envoy in post-Brexit spat. Now, what is this shit here? We thought everything was smooth sailing since the EU and the UK had made a Brexit trade agreement, and all would be well in 2021. Well, that ain't happening. The story. So 143 countries in the world recognize an EU representative as an ambassador to their country. The full diplomatic mission that any country gets, with an embassy or a consulate and all that jazz that comes with it. Most countries recognize the EU like that. But the UK? Well, they ain't having it. And the only reason they're given is that the EU is an organization, not a country. I mean, they do have a point, but damn UK, that's throwing some salt on an open wound called Brexit and just rubbing it in. And a question to you, Lo-Fi listeners out there. Do you think the UK will, and should, grant the EU a full diplomatic mission with status? Write in, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. And our following story comes from Reuters, World News. Russian lawmakers approve extension of nuclear arms pact with U.S. All right, what is this all about? So you see, since the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States back in the 1900s, Russia and the U.S. finally came to an agreement that building nuclear weapons limitlessly, well, that's just not a good idea now, is it? So they signed these treaties to limit themselves from doing so. And this story here is about a 5-year extension of the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, aka START. And it limits the number of nuclear-capable weapons like bombers, warheads, or missiles that the U.S. or Russia can have. Well done, Russia, for passing that treaty. And wow, I already can't believe I just said well done, Russia, on anything. But where's the U.S. at passing this before the treaty officially expires next week? Well, we really don't know. Mum is the word for the moment. So hit us up if you hear something first. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day, the science section of the BBC. UK government backs birth control for grey squirrels. All right, I'm not going to spoil this one too much for you because it is a bit of a funny read. And before you ask, yes, they're serious. You see, the grey squirrels of the UK really aren't from the UK. They're from North America. And the environment minister says they cost the government about £1.8 billion a year. So they're going to use what I can only assume to be Nutella hazelnut spread to trap them. And then, well, you can read the rest for yourself today, Lo-Fi Nation. All I'll say is, squirrels and birth control, what a Wednesday indeed. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Lo-Fi Global News. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.